Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Leap podcast. My name is Jennifer.
And I'm Daniel. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great, Daniel. Feeling articulate and ready to talk. How about you?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm particularly excited about today's topic, which touches every aspect of our lives. I think we're going to have a very insightful conversation.
Absolutely. Today, we're delving into something fundamental, the art of effective communication. It's the bridge that connects us, the tool that builds relationships, and the key to understanding.
Exactly. From a simple hello to a complex presentation, the way we express ourselves defines our interactions. But tell me, Jennifer, what exactly does effective communication look like in different situations?
That's a great question. Effective communication can look very different depending on the context, but it's made up of the little things we do regularly to ensure our message is understood. Throughout today's episode, we'll be sharing our insights from active listening to structuring our thoughts clearly.
That's right. And along the way, we'll talk about how improving your communication skills can help you feel more confident and connected. It's all about finding what works best for you to convey your message.
Exactly. And as we always do, Daniel, let's make sure our listeners also grasp the key vocabulary along the way.
Absolutely, Jennifer. We'll break down those terms as we go. Wonderful. Let's begin by discussing the pillars of clear communication.
So for me, one of the first pillars is clarity. As a student, especially when presenting ideas or participating in discussions, I make sure my points are unambiguous. I usually start by outlining my main ideas and then providing supporting details. It's a gentle way to ensure my audience can follow my train of thought.
That sounds nice. I agree. Clarity is paramount. In my job, especially during team meetings or client presentations, I focus on being concise. The first thing I do is get straight to the point, and then, like you, I support it with relevant information. It really sets the tone for an efficient exchange.
Exactly. Being clear and concise first thing is such a good habit. After that, I also think about my audience. I try to tailor my language and examples to their understanding. Just something simple to make sure the message lands well. Empathy is essential for me.
Tailoring a message is essential for me, too. I usually consider their background and what they already know. After an initial message, I take a few minutes to read their nonverbal cues or ask clarifying questions to ensure mutual understanding, so I know if my message was truly received.
I do the same. I pay attention to their reactions and make sure there are no misunderstandings. It's always nice to feel understood before moving forward.
Absolutely. Having that calm, well-structured approach to communication really makes a difference. And to help our listeners dive deeper into the vocabulary we've just used, let's quickly define some terms here. Clarity. This refers to the quality of being easy to understand. Jennifer uses this as a pillar for her communication. Unambiguous. This means not open to more than one interpretation. Clear. Jennifer makes sure her points are this. Concise. This describes giving a lot of information clearly and in a few words. Brief but comprehensive. Daniel focuses on being concise in his job. Paramount. This means more important than anything else. Supreme. Daniel considers clarity to be this. Empathy. This is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Jennifer finds this essential in communication.
Those are some useful terms for clear communication. And now that we've got the pillars covered, it's a great time to move on to active listening and feedback. Shall we, Daniel?
Sounds perfect, Jennifer.
Active listening for me is when I'm most engaged. I usually try to give my full attention, making eye contact and nodding to show I'm following along. If it's a long conversation, I make sure to occasionally paraphrase what the other person said to confirm my understanding. It helps keep my mind fresh and shows respect.
That's a smart approach. My listening skills usually put to the test during intense discussions or negotiations. But like you, I make sure to not just hear the words, but to truly comprehend the message. I find that asking open-ended questions really helps me dig deeper and fully grasp their perspective.
Exactly. Active listening is so important, even if it's challenging. After someone finishes speaking, I take a moment to process what they said before responding. I don't like to interrupt, as it can make the other person feel unheard or disregarded.
I agree. Responding too quickly is usually a mistake for me, and I like to step back and reflect completely. My go-to is always to seek clarification if something isn't clear. Keeping an open mind helps me avoid making assumptions or misinterpreting the message.
That sounds like a great option. After listening, I offer constructive feedback, making sure to focus on the message and not the person. It feels good to engage in a productive exchange before the conversation winds down.
Yeah, I do the same. After a discussion, I focus on providing feedback that is specific and actionable, trying to help improve the communication without being critical. All right, Jennifer, could you take us through the vocabulary from our discussion on active listening and feedback?
Certainly, Daniel. Let's break down some of the key terms here. Engaged. This refers to being involved in or committed to something. I feel this when actively listening. Paraphrase. This means to express the meaning of something written or spoken using different words, especially to achieve greater clarity. I do this to confirm understanding. Comprehend. This means to understand or grasp something fully. Daniel tries to do this with the message. Disregarded. This describes being ignored or treated as unworthy of consideration. I avoid interrupting so the other person doesn't feel this way. Open-ended questions. These are questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no and require a more detailed response. Daniel uses these to dig deeper. Constructive feedback. This is advice or criticism that is useful and intended to help or improve something. I aim to offer this. Actionable. This means providing enough information or detail to be able to take action, able to be acted on. Daniel focuses on feedback that is actionable.
Those are the key words for active listening and feedback. Now let's shift to overcoming communication barriers.
Thanks, Daniel. That was really helpful. It's amazing how just a few keywords can really make things clearer.
Absolutely. I love how practical these terms are. You can use them every day. All right, let's wind things down by talking about overcoming communication barriers.
Evenings are when I often reflect on my day's communications. If there was a misunderstanding, I try to identify the root cause. Was it my choice of words or perhaps the other person's mood? It's a peaceful way to improve for future interactions.
I totally relate to that. After a challenging communication, I make time to analyze it too, whether it's a cultural difference or a simple technical glitch. Dinner is usually around 7 p.m. for me, and it's something simple but satisfying. I like grilled salmon with veggies or stir fry with rice.
That sounds delicious. My dinner is usually something quick and easy, like pasta with vegetables or a rice bowl. Once I've reflected, I always make sure to consider different perspectives. It's such a small part of my routine, but it helps me avoid preconceptions and fosters better understanding.
Oh, definitely. Considering different viewpoints feels like pressing the reset button after a long day of potential miscommunications. It's a simple way to shift into a more objective mode. After that, I usually wind down with a book or a cup of herbal tea before bed.
That sounds really calming. I also avoid making assumptions before bed, instead spending some time thinking about how I can be more adaptable in my communication style. I aim to get to bed around 10, so I'm well rested for the next day.
Same here. I stick to a consistent bedtime too, around 10:30, and it's amazing how much better I feel the next day when I get a full night's sleep, ready to communicate effectively.
All right, Daniel, one last time. Could you walk us through the vocabulary from our discussion on overcoming communication barriers?
Absolutely, Jennifer. Let's go over the key phrases from this segment. Root cause. This is the fundamental reason for the occurrence of a problem or event. Jennifer tries to identify this for misunderstandings. Technical glitch. This refers to a small, often temporary malfunction or problem. I mentioned this as a possible communication barrier. Preconceptions. These are opinions or ideas formed before having sufficient evidence or experience, a pre-prejudice. Jennifer tries to avoid these to foster understanding. Reset button. This is a metaphor for starting fresh or returning to a neutral state. I mentioned this when considering different viewpoints. Adaptable. This means able to adjust to new conditions. Jennifer thinks about how she can be more this in her communication style.
All right, Daniel. Well, that's all for today's episode. We hope this conversation gave you some helpful insights and tips for your own communication journey. Thank you all for joining us. Keep practicing those essential skills, and we'll see you next time on the English Leap Podcast.
Take care and communicate effectively. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.